Good morning, everybody. I'm Paul Cole from SellerEngine Software, and I do a lot of Profit Bandit support. Some of you may know me from emailing support@profitbanditapp.com or from finding me on Facebook or in our Facebook group, the Profit Bandit Facebook group. Or maybe some of you have hopefully even met me in person at some of the trade shows that we go to. This is our very first Profit Bandit webinar. This is going to be one of the exclusive benefits of being a Profit Bandit subscriber starting next month. But this webinar was available to everyone. And I hope I do a really good job to show you everything show you what you need to know about Profit Bandit, and that I'm able to answer all the questions that you have. Speaking of questions, I'd love it if you ask them in the chat or in the questions area on this webinar. And if I may answer them as we go along, or I may wait until the end, depending on what kind of questions we get and what sort of answers you guys need. So let's get started. We're here today, like I said. This is my first Profit Bandit webinar, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys. I love talking about Profit Bandit. It really is one of my favorite things, and I'm so excited that so many of you took time out of your morning or your afternoon, depending on where you live, to spend an hour or so with me. And why we're here today. I'm here to teach you a few things. Hopefully a lot of what I'm going over is going to be review, but I just want to make sure that people know the best way to get the most out of Profit Bandit with the least amount of effort. And I'm also here to learn from you guys. If a big part of this subscription to Profit Bandit that we started recently is to get the ideas for what you guys want out of Profit Bandit, what we need to add, what we need to fix, what could be easier, what features you don't use, what things would make it just a better tool for you to find great inventory for your Amazon business. And I'm really excited to teach you and show you things, and honestly, I'm even more excited to hear your ideas. So let me go over what we're going to be talking about today. I feel like there's three main things that you need to be an expert in to get the most out of Profit Bandit. And the first one is understanding Profit Bandit's home screen. If you don't understand if you don't understand how to interpret the data that Profit Bandit shows after you scan an item or search for something, it's easy to make bad sourcing decisions. So I'm going to go over that. And then just as important is understanding all the different settings in Profit Bandit. They can make your profit calculation more accurate. They can make it easier to use Profit Bandit. And they're a great place to start looking if you're having some problems with Profit Bandit. Third thing we're going to look at is our profit calculation and understanding what it means and understanding how to customize it and make it as accurate as it can be for your business. Then we're going to get into tips and tricks. I've got two cool things to show you. One's new to this version, and one's a hidden feature that we've been using for a while that I want to show you guys that I think could be really cool. Then I'm going to talk to you guys about how to get help for Profit Bandit. Just when something goes wrong, or if you have a question, the best ways to get a hold of us and the different ways that you can get a hold of us. And then we're going to conclude by talking about what's next. I'm going to hopefully get some ideas from you guys, what you want to see in next month's webinar. We're going to talk a little bit about maybe some upcoming features that you might be interested in. And we'll just talk about where Profit Bandit's going and why it's so important to us that all of you listening are going to be a major part of Profit Bandit's future. So let's take it from the top. Here we have a DVD that we scanned called Arbitrage. And this is what you would see if you scan or search for this item. You're going to see, let's take it from the very top, and we'll start at the top. I'm sure all of you know that you can scan or search by either tapping the scan button or searching. And that's what brings up the results here. Next, you see the item title and the category. I don't know if a lot of you know this, but if you were to tap on the word arbitrage or whatever the item title is, it'll bring up a menu, and you can do things like look the item up on Camel, 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 or on a couple other sites like Google Shopping or some other, or Price Grab or a few other comparison sites. This is one of the, next I'm going to talk about one of the biggest bits of confusion with Profit Bandit. A lot of people who write into me in support and who talk to me on Facebook think that the list price here is the price that Amazon is selling the item for. And that's actually not right. List price is also known as the MSRP, the manufacturer suggested retail price. It's a field on Amazon. It's something that every item should have. And it's basically what the suggested price of the item is. And moving down a little bit, let me talk a little bit about sales rank. That's what this, the rank here is a sales rank in the category. So this is the 24,258th best-selling DVD. And moving down a little bit, we have the offer overview here. And here's where you can see Amazon's price. This $8.98 with the asterisk next to it, the highlighted offer in the offer overview is Amazon's offer. I'm getting a few questions and I just want to. And then we talked about the asterisks and the highlighted offers. I got a few questions from Dimitri that we'll definitely get to at the end. So just hang tight, Dimitri, and I'll answer your questions as best I can. And another question that a lot of people have about Profit Bandit are these little letters in parentheses. And these refer to conditions. G is good, VG very good, LN like new, A acceptable. We don't see any acceptables on here. And now this is something that's Android specific. And I know we're just talking about Android today, but it's hard to show both versions of the app and keep this to a reasonable length. So we're going to start by talking about something that's specific to Android. A surprising amount of Amazon sellers who use Profit Bandit don't even know there's a settings menu. And the settings menu is the most important part of Profit Bandit after that home screen. So if you've never seen this little screen right here on your Android phone, listen up, because this is going to hopefully blow your mind, but I hope that all of you know how to see this. If you don't, look for your phone's hamburger button. It might look like one of these 4 little designs here, or if you have a newer phone that doesn't have a hamburger button, you're going to want to tap and hold on the button on the lower left. And if anybody knows any other ways to get to the settings menu in Profit Bandit on Android, pop them in the chat. I'm always curious to know about the many different devices that Android users use. Janet Bishop has a quick question about how do you know if Amazon is a seller? And that's a good question that we just talked about. Janet, right here, the highlighted offer in the offers area, this $8.98 in the reddish-orange box is Amazon's offer. And the asterisk means that that offer has the buy box. I hope that answers your question, Janet. Now we're going to talk about what to do once you've got to Profit Bandit settings. And again, this is all going to be Android specific. And I'm not going to go through everything on this screen unless you stop me and ask a question. Janet's got another good question about the buy box. She asks, if no offers are highlighted, then Amazon is not a seller on the item. And that's not exactly true, because there are possibilities that because of the way Amazon returns data to Profit Bandit and the way that Amazon returns data to all third-party sellers, it's possible that Amazon's offer won't be returned. And I'm going to talk a little bit more of that later on when we get to some tips and tricks. So hold that thought, Janet, and if I don't answer your question then, we'll get into more detail about the situations when Amazon's offer may not be available. So now we're in Profit Bandit settings area. At the very top, you see Manage Account. That's where you can start or cancel your subscription. You can change your credit card if your credit card is about to expire, or if you need to change it to a new credit card. Amazon location. This is important to talk about too. This selects which Amazon website you're looking up data on. For the vast majority of you, you're only ever going to set this to Amazon US, because you only have an account on Amazon.com. But if you're a global seller with different accounts on different venues like Canada or Japan or UK, you can add different accounts and look up items on different venues. So if you only ever have one Amazon account on one marketplace, completely ignore this. Moving down a little bit, we're going to look at median mail rates. Media mail rates are for MFN sellers. If you're an FBA seller, don't worry about this. Um, Media mail rates just mean that we'll use the USPS's media mail rates to calculate your shipping to the customer and estimate that part of your profit. The sell it button action is really important too. The sell it button can either be used to list something on Amazon or to add something to your buy list. Does anybody listening use the buy list? How do you use it? If you'll pop that in the chat or as a question, we'll talk a little bit more about that. We can come back and talk a little bit more about the buy list. This matters to some sellers. This may be another thing you want to leave alone, but net profit versus profit margin. If you're looking for a profit displayed in dollars, show net profit. If you're looking for a percent profit, it's really more of an ROI calculation. Then use the profit margin percentage. And if you're an FBA seller, now's when you really need to start paying attention. If you're selling FBA, or if you're an MFN seller who likes to see who likes to use the FBA prices as your default pricing, or I'm sorry, if you're an FBA seller, definitely check this box because it's going to make your default shipping or your default profit calculation be based on all of the FBA fees, including things like inbound shipping, pick and pack fees, weight handling, oversize fees, all that good stuff that Amazon takes out when you sell an item FBA. A real big point of confusion that a lot of Profit Bandit users have is the FBA inbound shipping rate. We use this, we use a default of 30 cents per pound. So if you tap on this button for the first time, you'll see the number 30. If you ever change that, you need to make sure to use a whole number, like 50 cents per pound. Don't enter 0.5, like you're saying half of a dollar per pound. This needs to be in whole numbers in cents per pound. So if you wanted to have $1 per pound, you wouldn't put 1, you put 100. And that's really important to getting an accurate profit calculation. If you're on Android, we have an experimental feature called order monitoring. We're still trying to figure out why it works really well for some sellers and not as well for others. We'd love it if you tried it out, and if you like getting a notification when you sell an item, then enable that and let us know how it works for you. Someone asks, can you set the currency to British pounds if you're an FBA seller from the UK? The answer to that is, if you're talking about the inbound shipping rate, it is in pence per pound. So even though it says cents per pound there, it's going to be in 1/100th of a British pound per pound of weight. So just go ahead and enter it in as pence per pound. And if that doesn't make sense, get back to me and I'll explain it to you more later. But that's a great question and one we've heard before. Moving further down in the settings, let's look at batch scan mode. That's really great if you have a low signal. It'll just save all your barcodes to your history and you can review them later to go up to the front of the store or even head outside for a second to check everything out. A common problem that I hear from people are people accidentally turn on batch scan mode. If you're scanning items and always having to go to your history and then tapping on an item to review it, it sounds like you turned batch scan mode on. So just make sure it's off and you should be able to solve that problem without any trouble. There are 2 really cool alerts that are great for employees. The profit alert will show you, will vibrate the phone if the profit is above a specified amount, and the sales rank alert will vibrate the phone if the sales rank is below a certain amount. If you want to turn these off, set the sales rank alert to 0, and if you want to turn the profit alert off, set it to a very big number like 99999. And these are great for employees because you can just send them out and say, if your phone vibrates, buy the item. It's really handy. If you're ever having trouble capturing a barcode, like your scanner is, like you're not, for whatever reason, you're spending a lot of time focusing on the barcode, you can't quite get it to capture, come into here and change your scanning app. That's a real handy way that may, depending on the barcode, help you capture it a little bit quicker and easier. Experiment with the different options. Some of them may require you to install a free third-party app, like Shop Savvy or Pick to Shop. But it's a great way to solve some simple problems with scanning and capturing barcodes. Thomas asks, what's the inbound shipping rate for UK? Again, it defaults to 30 pence per pound, but you can change that to any whole number of pence per pound that you want it to be. If you have a good guess for what our default should be for UK sellers, let me know. We'd love to make a better default that worked better for all of our UK users. And this last section of settings is really, really important. And this is where you customize your profit calculation. Starting at the top, this is where you can include your inbound shipping cost, or if you don't really care about it, Thomas asks again about the inbound shipping cost in the UK. Inbound shipping costs should be something that you edit yourself. Depending on what, you need to figure out what you're paying to get your items from your location to the Amazon warehouses. And that's the number you should be putting in Profit Bandit setting, your best estimate of that. If that doesn't answer your question, Thomas, get in touch with us at support@profitbanditapp.com after the webinar, and we'll be happy to explain it in more detail. So customizing your profit calculation. If you're an FBA seller and you want to include that inbound shipping cost from you to the FBA warehouse, make sure this is checked. If you're an MFN seller and you want to use the postal rate calculation to estimate your cost of getting things to the customer, make sure this is checked. The FBA storage fee tends to be very low because we just estimate 30 days of time in the warehouse, which for a book or another small item is a very, very low amount, usually just a couple cents. This may make a bigger effect if it's a bigger oversized item, or if, and obviously it could be higher if the item takes longer than 30 days to sell. And then on the very bottom, if you're a lefty who likes to scan with your right thumb, or if you're a righty who for whatever reason wants the button on the right side, all you have to do is check down here and it'll move the button over. And we know there's a problem with this on the iPhone, but it's going to be fixed very, very soon when we get our update out for iPhone in the next week or so. Hopefully it'll be out soon. We're still working on it, trying to make it perfect for all you iPhone users. And we're just really appreciative for the patience you guys have shown us so far. Now that we've looked at settings, let's talk a little bit about profit calculation. Again, this is one of those things that I wish every Profit Bandit user knows, but you'd be surprised how many people write in and don't know that you can tap down here on the profit to see a breakdown of how it was calculated. And the profit that you see here is defaults to whatever you have selected in settings. So if you have FBA seller checked, you're going to see an FBA profit calculated. If it's not checked, it's going to be calculated. Based on MFN factors. And in this screenshot here, we see that we're basing this off of MFN. So again, like I said, the default is chosen in Profit Bandit settings. And if you check this, you'll be able to compare it to FBA settings or FBA profit. But checking this box here does not change the default. Whenever you scan your next item, it's still going to be an MFN calculation, even if you check this box. So if you want to change the default calculation, you have to do that in Profit Bandit settings. And then here's how the FBA profit calculation looks. And you can adjust these different factors, the weight, the inbound shipping cost, and whether or not you want to have the 30-day storage fee calculated in the settings. One thing we do that some people like and some people don't like is we base inbound shipping is based on a minimum of 1 pound. So if you have an item that costs that only weighs like 1/3 of a pound, we're still going to estimate it as weighing 1 pound for your inbound shipping, we round up to the nearest pound, or we round up to the next pound. And the reason for this is we're pretty conservative. We'd rather the profit be off by a little bit, and you guys know that and understand that, and make sure that you're getting enough profit out of your items. If you'd like us to change that, definitely write us an email, and if we hear from enough people who think it's important to have an exact profit or an exact inbound shipping rate or inbound shipping weight calculated, that's definitely a change we can make. And now we're going to get to the 2 tips and tricks that I want to talk to everybody about. This is brand new in Profit Bandit for Android, and will be coming in the next version of Profit Bandit for iPhone. Let's look at this box of Oreos. We see there's 35 offers, but we're only seeing like 5 of them here. And that's weird, right? And that goes back to the question I answered earlier about when Amazon is selling it, but you can't tell. I'll explain a little bit about how we get information from Amazon. When you scan an item using Profit Bandit or any third-party software, that app asks Amazon for information about this item. Amazon then looks at about like the 20 or so lowest priced offers ranked by total price plus shipping. And then it separates those offers into different groups based on characteristics like FBA or non-FBA, depending on how good the seller's feedback is. So you may end up with a bunch of different groups. And then Amazon only tells us the lowest price from each group. So it's possible that there are many offers, or it's possible there are multiple $13.99 offers in this group, or it's possible there's offers in this group that are higher than $13.99 that just aren't getting shown to Profit Bandit. And same goes for this $14.78 offer. It's possible that there's other offers being considered but not being shown because they're not the lowest in the group. I know that's a little confusing, and that's why we've done this new feature called One Click to Offers. All you have to do is tap on the FBA column header here. Just tap on this, and you'll be taken directly to the offers page. And we're able to see that there are a bunch of FBA offers, all at that $13.99 price point, even though we only see a few of them in Profit Bandit settings. And this is really great to do, and you could do it for the new column too, and be shown the new, all the new offers that are available, all 35 of them. It'll also work for used and collectible if those columns appear in after you scan. And so, like I said, once you tap that, you're seeing all the FBA offers. You can decide, you can make smarter decisions based on what's being shown here. And it's going to be real handy and a real quick way to double check the information that Amazon gives to us. And you can also see like the specific sellers here real easily. You can see their feedback rates, how often they, their star rating. And we hope that this will help you make smarter decisions. And we'd love it if you guys gave us feedback on how you're using this feature. If you like it, if there's something we could do better, if you're not using it. So let us know. And this is one that people have been asking for, that we've had internally that we use when we're testing Profit Bandit or helping you solve a problem that you're having. If you're looking at an item and you want to know the ASIN of the item you're looking at, type ASIN exclamation point into the manual search box and press the magnifying glass. It is case sensitive, so don't do capital ASIN, do lowercase ASIN and exclamation point, and then this message will pop up, and you'll be able to write down the ASIN to save for later. And one thing we're going to add to this is the ability to just tap and copy it to your phone's clipboard so that you can just save that ASIN and do whatever you want with it. This works on iPhone too for all you iPhone users. And those are the 2 tips and tricks that I wanted to show you guys. So tap on the column headers on Android in the newest version of Profit Bandit. So that's a feature for subscribers only. And type in ASIN exclamation point to see the ASIN of the item that you're looking at. And now let's talk about getting help. one of the things that I think makes Profit Bandit great is that you can always get a hold of us, and we do our best to answer every question as fast as we can. Um, if you have an urgent question or something that you really need help with, email us. Email us first. That's going to be the thing. That's what we check first. That's where we respond first. If your question is a little bit less urgent, you can find us on our Facebook page or in our Facebook group. And if you post on our group, there's a good chance that another member of the Profit Bandit community will be able to answer your question too. And we want to keep getting better and better at support. So please email us with your questions. It really helps us out to know what you guys need help with. If you're not happy for any reason, please email us, and we'll always do our best to make everybody happy. That's really my goal when I answer your questions. Is I just want everybody who uses Profit Bandit to feel like they're getting a good experience working with us to answer your questions. And if you're using Profit Bandit, we have really great help documentation. And I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. From within settings on iPhone or from the options menu on Android, there's a link to the help documentation. If you see any mistakes there, or if you see something that's missing, again, email me, and I'd love to improve that help documentation so you guys can get answers right away, right from within Profit Bandit. What's next for Profit Bandit, and what's next for you guys? Nick, in about a month from now, I don't have the exact date yet, we're going to be doing our next webinar, and Profit Bandit subscribers are going to be the people who are going to be choosing the topic of that webinar. So everyone who's subscribed to Profit Bandit will get an email in about a week or so, and we'll encourage you to suggest some ideas for our next webinar. It could be something about Profit Bandit, it could be about repricing or selling on Amazon in general, and we'll do our best to put together a nice webinar and answer your questions about whatever topic you guys are most interested in. And in that same email, we're going to ask all of you subscribers for your opinions on the new features, and what we could do better, where you think our focus should be when we're building new features. That's what's next for you guys. This webinar, of course, is open to everyone, but next webinar will only be open to Profit Bandit subscribers. So I'd really encourage everybody who's listening to subscribe now if they'd like to be part of the future of Profit Bandit. Now we're going to talk to you guys for a little while, and I'm going to start by answering a few questions from Dimitri. Dimitri asks, how does the subscriptions work for multiple devices under the same account? He has an iPhone and an iPad that I use for scouting. One's on T-Mobile and another's on Verizon. And Dimitri, the answer to that is it's super simple. If you have one account with one subscription, all you need to do is sign in with that same account on your second device. So if you're logging in with like Dimitri@gmail.com on one phone and you made your subscription with Dimitri@gmail.com, just sign in with that same email address and password on your second device. You don't need to set up a second subscription. You'll be good to go. Just sign in with the same account on all your devices. I'm glad I was able to answer your question, Thomas. See, we're getting a lot more questions here, so I'll start working through these. JJ asks, can the profit calculation show the # for UK sellers? And the answer is yes, and if it's not doing it right now, it will happen in the next update to Profit Bandit. In the last version of Profit Bandit, we realized that we were using the wrong symbol for some of the foreign marketplaces. So yes, the number you're seeing in Profit Bandit is always in the local currency. We never convert currencies. So if you're scanning on Amazon.co.uk, you're always going to be seeing the profit calculation in British pounds. If you're scanning on Amazon.co.jp, you'll always be seeing the profit in Japanese yen. If you're scanning on Amazon.com, you're always going to be seeing the Profit Bandit or the profit calculation in US dollars. But there's no way to convert that. So if you're in Britain and scanning on Amazon.com, you're still going to be seeing the price in dollars. And if you want to convert that to pounds, that's something you'll have to do yourself. if enough people are interested in some sort of calculation where we convert for you, let us know and we might be able to add it. Dimitri asks, is the 35 back on the Oreos include FBA offers? And the answer is yes, it does. That's 35 total offers of regardless of fulfillment channel. Brenda asks, Brenda came in late and she wants to know if there would be a link to listen to this later. The answer is absolutely. I'm recording everything I'm saying and recording my screen right now. We'll send an email out to everybody who attended and who registered later on, probably early next week. Got lots of questions from Dimitri here. Dimitri wants us to improve the keyboard to use to type ISBNs and UPC numbers into the search box. And the cool thing is that on iPhone, we should be able to do this soon because there should be the ability to use custom keyboards and iOS apps in the new iOS 8 that got announced about a week ago. So this is definitely doable. Dimitri, I'd love it if you emailed us at support@profitbanditapp.com and tell us exactly what you want on that keyboard, because it's something we should definitely be able to do for you. Thomas asked if there are other webinars that he missed. Nope, this is actually our very first one. We'll be doing another one next month just for Profit Bandit subscribers. I hope you can make it, Thomas, and I hope everybody else who's a subscriber makes it then too. Dimitri wants to know when we'll be updating the iPhone app, and we'll be doing that soon. We're putting the finishing touches on it, making sure everything's working great, and we'll get it submitted to Apple for approval very soon. Android or Dimitri has a question about a bug with long item titles. If you can send us an example of one of those really long item titles that's making Profit Bandit crash, we should be able to look into that a little bit more. Oh, and Janet says that she's seen some YouTube videos on Profit Bandit, and that's true. There's a couple of really great ones out there. We've even done a few videos of our own that show you a couple features. And you can find those at our support center. Email us if you want to get the link. Dimitri asks about restricted categories and items. Unfortunately, that's really hard for us to do because that's not something that's in the Amazon API right now. I know the Amazon app itself shows it, but unfortunately, they don't share that data with us, so we may not be able to add that for a little while. But one feature that we are going to be adding is sales rank percentage, which is going to show the number of the sales rank of an item compared to the total number of items in that category. In stock, the number in stock of FBA sellers is not something that we can get right now because it's not in the Amazon API. And that's why other scouting apps have had to remove FBA in-stock quantity, for example. And then for international sellers, an easy way to switch to different markets. We tried to make it as easy as we could. Oops, sorry about that. By making it easy to switch in Profit Bandit settings, just right up here at the top in Amazon location. The idea of displaying multiple venues at once might be kind of tricky because I could see that the home screen getting really busy. But if anybody has some ideas, if that's important to you and you have ideas of how we could do that in a way that you'd like, get in touch with us and we'll talk about it more. And I think that's the last question I have. Are there any other last questions before we call it a day? Oh, we got one more from JJ. JJ encourages me to open up these webinars to non-subscribers too. I'll definitely consider that. Maybe we'll do one special webinar just for subscribers and one for non-subscribers. Yeah, I mean, I would love to do these webinars for as many people as possible. I'd originally intended this as being a benefit for the people who have subscribed, but I can definitely see your point that a non-subscriber webinar would also be really useful. So I'm definitely gonna think hard about that, and hopefully next month I'll do 2 webinars if we can come up with some great ideas for topics. JJ, just let me know what you want me to talk about, and maybe I'll do it for you. I'd love to. Rick has a question about the FBA column, not showing the number of FBA sellers, just some offers. And you're exactly right about that. And we can't show the count because that's not something that Amazon gives us. But by doing the FBA, just doing a 1-click here, and then going to the offers page, you can see how many there are on the offers page. And I hope that's helpful. Any last minute questions? I'll be over on our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/ProfitBandit if you have any more questions. Otherwise, I'll give you guys a few more minutes, another minute or two to think of any questions you'd like me to answer now or anything that I haven't done well enough today. I'm not seeing, yes, JJ, everybody who's listening, I really encourage you to email us, support@profitbanditapp.com, with any questions that you have about Profit Bandit, selling on Amazon, anything at all. Even if you're not using Profit Bandit right now and you're just considering using us, email us, and I promise we'll do our best to answer every question that you have. Robert asked, now that we're charging a monthly subscription, what features are we going to implement that would make it better than the free Amazon app? And that's a really great question. A really big one is going to be the sales rank percentage. That's going to be showing what percentile each item is in its category. So let me go back to an item here. We can see sales rank is 1,090, but 1,000 in grocery is way different than 1,000 in books. So we want to display sales rank as a percentage of items in the category. And I think that's going to be a great feature that's going to let people make smarter buying decisions, because even if you're not an expert in grocery, you'll be able to see if it's in the top 5%, top 10%, or top 20%, or if it's towards the bottom of the sales rank ladder. One other thing I really want to add to Profit Bandit that some people have been excited about is moving your history and your buy list to a website where you could download that off. You wouldn't need to export it from your phone. You'd just be able to download it from your computer and upload it right to Amazon or into your listing software. And as for other features for us to add, Robert, let us know what you want. If you're subscribing or if you're considering subscribing, tell us what would make Profit Bandit better and a good value for you. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Tim, if we do add sales rank percentage, we will definitely keep the ability to show both. I'm imagining it saying 1,090, and then in parentheses 50th percentile, 50%, 25%, something like that. So we would never take away the raw sales rank. It would just be an optional extra value. I think that'll be our last question for this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. It was really exciting to talk to you and hear ideas from people. And if you wanted to get in touch with me, email me support@profitbanditapp.com. Or join us on our Facebook group and just talk to us. We really want to be a part of your Amazon business. We want to make our app better. We want to make your business better. And I promise that that's what we're going to be doing. I'm really glad you guys